Squatting with a barbell on your back isn't for everybody, but squatting with some type of load is. So for this week's version of Thorough Thursday, we're going to go over goblet squats and how to put them in your programming. So let's get to it. So whenever we do a goblet squat, we're going to squat with the same cues as we do a back squat or any type of squat, period. So I'm going to grab the dumbbell and hold it at my chest, just like a goblet, hence the name goblet squat. And then I'm going to push off the sides of my feet as hard as I can, squeeze my core as tight as possible, and then push my knees out to the side as hard as possible as I'm sitting down through my hips, and stand back up while maintaining that external pressure the entire time. So whenever we are doing a squat, no matter where the load is located, I'm trying to create as much torque through my hip as possible. So in order to achieve that, I'm going to push off the sides of my feet, push my knees out of the way of my hips, so that way as I sit down, my femur isn't hitting my pelvis, and it allows me to sit even deeper through the range of motion and then stand back up. Now also, by doing this twisting motion of my leg or external pressure, it allows me to optimally contract all the muscles of my leg, glutes, and hips in order to exert as much force as possible through this movement. Now, there is a little bit of difference with a barbell being on your back because it's going to bend you forward at the hips. Now, if you're using the goblet squat like we are here, the dumbbell is in front of me, so I have to engage a lot more core and stabilize the weight than I would any other. That's why this is a very good exercise to do if you're a beginner, or I do with a lot of my youth athletes to teach them how to properly brace before putting a barbell on their back. Now, some of you commented last week in YouTube in the comments about how should I do a bodyweight squat. It's the same thing. You just keep that core tight, try to maintain that upright chest, and externally rotate your feet. Now, you're not going to see it because your feet are fixated on the ground, but you're trying to split the floor as much as you can and kind of rotate your feet outward in order to engage your hips, legs, and glutes optimally throughout this range of motion. Now, last week I had some people commenting on if you should allow the knee to go forward or keep your shin vertical, and my answer to that question is yes. Be able to squat the way you feel you naturally squat. So when you sit down in there, if your knee goes forward, that's fine. It's not the end of the world. But what is important is that you're maintaining that external pressure the entire time to optimally engage your glutes and hamstrings. Now, if I have someone that comes in with me that has knee pain, I'm going to teach them a more vertical shank position in that squat until we can figure out why they're having knee pain in the first place. If your knees are really good at going forward, I'm going to allow that, but I'm also going to make sure within other parts of your program, we're doing a lot more exercises to address your posterior chain because you're not actively hitting them as much as you would as a vertical shank squat. So there's no right or wrong way of doing this. What is right or wrong is being able to externally rotate your hips in order to keep, one, your knees and hips healthy, but two, also maintain that upright posture as you're sitting down through your hips. So I hope you guys enjoyed this version of Thorough Thursday. If you have any questions or concerns, please comment below or visit us at agogeperformance.com.